Hi everyone, this is Sagar Shah and I am right now talking to you from Goa, and it's the first Goa International GM tournament, and we are right now in front of the ChessBase India stall where we are selling softwares of ChessBase and quality chess books. Now the softwares are all in soft copies, so you cannot really see them. Once you buy it, we email it to you, but what you can see here are the books, the quality chess books. And first up is of course our very own Indian author Parimarjan Negi. I think he is the only one who's written a book for quality chess, and these are repertoire books, one E4 versus the Sicilian. Now Negi was of course a great theoretical player, and so he would have great ideas in different openings. Like in this, the part 1, he has covered the Najdorf. It's completely based on the Najdorf, this book. Part 2 is based on knight c6 and d6 as they show here, and part 3 is the e6 lines, which is the Khan and Taimanov. So these 3 books, Negi had great ideas in the Sicilian from the white side, and he has put all of them in this because right now he is busy studying in MIT, earlier in Stanford when he wrote them. And here is his 4th book, which is on the French Caro-Kann and Philidor. Again, quite a thick book, nearly 600 pages, and once you get these 4 books, I think your E4 repertoire is pretty much sorted apart from E4, E5. I think everything else is covered here. Now we have another book here, which is the Semislav, and the Semislav opening I think takes us back to 2008 World Championship match between Anand and Kramnik. It's written by Lars Schandorf. Anand scored some tremendous wins with the Semislav, and it's not a particularly thick book. There is very precise lines which he has recommended for black to equalize and play for the initiative. And there is also a 25% off on the Semislav, which if you buy today or tomorrow, you get that. Boris Avrukh is of course a legend in opening books. His book, The Queen's Gambit 1 D4 repertoire, sold like hotcake for years, and now he has come up with a new version, so he has improvements throughout the book, and this deals with D4, D5, C4. We also have D4 NF6 book, but it's not here on the stall, it's sold out. We have it in Mumbai. You have the classical Slav. If you are a black player looking for Slav from black side, then Boris Avrukh's classical Slav should be great for you. Now the Perk defense is really cool. Magnus Carlsen played it recently, Anish Giri as well, and the Perk defense is becoming really an opening which many people want to play for initiative with the black pieces. So Mihail Marin has written a very comprehensive book on it, and I think this is something that you can look into. This is the French defense. It has 3 volumes. It's written by one of the biggest experts on French, Emmanuel Berg, and he talks about from the black side different lines, Tarrasch, classical, advanced, and this is what you can get from this book. Caro-Kann by Lars Schandorf is also here. You can learn the French by Agard and Nitrilis. There is also the Open Spanish by Viktor Mikhalevsky. I think the Indians would recognize Mikhalevsky as coach of Arjun Erigesi, our 54th GM, yes. And E3 Poison, I love the cover of this book by Axel Smith. What he says is that you play E3 on the first move, keep your cards open, and then you can transpose it into D4 lines or C4 lines or play knight F3, B3, and you can get some very interesting positions. E3, that's E3 Poison. You have the Nimzo Indian Defense. Nimzo Indian Defense here, very popular book by Michael Royce. I have a nice story here. It was a game between Sandeepan Chanda and Lakshman from the Kolkata Open, and Lakshman played the Nimzo and Sandeepan played, I think, the move bishop d2 here, or maybe it was e3 followed by bishop d2, and Lakshman after the game came to the stall and said, let me check the book, you know, what's recommended by Michael Royce, you know, he wanted to see it. So this is a very high quality book, worth reading. You have the Tarash defense. Anyone who likes to play with the isolated pawn from black side can go for the Tarash defense, and it was used a lot by Garry Kasparov in the middle, somewhere around 1990s. We have the chess tactics from scratch. I think I should come to this book a little later when we go to the tactics section. Let's first finish with the openings. If you want to play a very good opening system with the black, which is much more dynamic than the Queen's Gambit decline, I would recommend the Ragozin. And Ragozin is basically you put your bishop to b4 on move 3 here. This is one of my favorite books. I think it changed my life to some extent, opening wise, because I was a hardcore d4 player, and then one fine day in Jalgaon, when I was having a horrible tournament, I said I want to play the English. Out of blue, I had never played it in my life, and somehow I got hold of this book. I saw my opponent was Nubair Shah Sheikh. I looked at the line he was playing from this book, and I scored a beautiful win with white. I really remember that game, and since then English has become a part of my repertoire. It has volume 1 to 3 and a very nice series by Mihail Marin. Now, two books which I can recommend to very classical players is playing e4 e5 and d4 d5 by Nicholas Nitrilis. Nicholas is rated, I think, around 1800 or 1900, I am not really sure, perhaps he is a bit stronger, but the point I am trying to make is he is not a practically very strong player, but an amazing annotator. He analyzes and analyzes the games in great depth using computers. He knows how to use the computers, and there are some perfect lines which are given. He recommends the Breyer in this book and very solid Queen's Gambit declined with black. These both the books are with black. So if you are looking for something solid, then think of going for the classical repertoire. Sicilian Sveshnikov is in great fashion, and Kotronias has written this book from the black side if you would like to play the Sicilian. Another book by Kotronias is the Grandmaster Battle Manual, a book which is very special for me, because when I was helping my friend Shailesh Nerlikar, who is no more alive, he gifted me this book as a gift from his end, and he said that I could use it, and I read this book. He has Kotronias has gone through this, where he speaks about some very nice chapters like facing lower rated opponents, be a harsh critic of your own wins, defense makes the difference. I like this book very much. It also speaks about last round problems which many people face when they are in a must win situation. Apart from this, we have the very latest book on openings. I think this one is definitely something which people should look into, by Jan Elvest. It's Grandmaster Opening Preparation. It's not a theory book. He doesn't delve deep into lines or theory, but what he talks about here is the approach to the opening. For example, he speaks about the isolated queen pawn, and he talks about how different players approached it. For example, if you look at the isolated queen's pawn position here, he talks about Tarash, Keres, Anatoly Line, Spassky, Kasparov, and all of these players on how they used how they played against or played with the isolated pawn. Of course, there are many other key opening ideas which are given in this book. Now, playing 1 e4 Sicilian main lines is given in this over here, and this is actually a hard copy. It's I think only one book which we have, but we also have soft copies back in Mumbai, so you can order this. It's John Shaw's latest books, in which he gives a white repertoire with 1 e4. So it's basically Sicilian main lines. He talks about other openings like French, Caro-Kann, similar to Negi over here, but I think the major difference is John Shaw's books are not as deep as Parimarjan Negi's books, so can be good for players who are not looking for something completely exhaustive. Here's the book which has made ripples in the chess world. Sam Shankland, who was rated around 2670 or 2660, is now 2726. He's made this huge leap, and he wrote this book before that. It's called Small Steps to Giant Improvement, and he talks about how to make use of pawns in your game, and this book is very well received by people. In fact, Sam himself used some of the concepts to win a key game against Mamedov in the Olympiad. Thomas Luther is a very good friend, and he is also a great author. His book Luther's Chess Reformation won the prize, the second prize at the Olympiad for the book of the year. And in this book you can find some very interesting chapters. For example, how I became a grandmaster. This is the story of Thomas Luther, and then it's training with the grandmasters, how everyone can improve, and it's an excellent book. And also it's not very thick, just 200 pages, so a lot you can learn from it. Positional decision making, do I even need to say something about this book? Boris Gelfand's first book, Positional Decision Making. He came up with another book after this, which was Dynamic Decision Making. It has won the ECF Book of the Year. Never really do you get a chance to get into the head of a very, very strong player, and Boris Gelfand does exactly that. He talks about his thought processes, and at the start of every game, for example, if it's a game against Morozevich, he talks about the person. Morozevich is a highly creative grandmaster from Moscow, so he talks about and gives insights into something which you would otherwise not get. Now coming to the important section here, Grandmaster Preparation Series by Jakob Agard. We have sold out many of the books here, but we have 3, which is Thinking Inside the Box. This is the 6th part. Endgame Play, if I am not mistaken, is the 5th part. Strategic Play is the 3rd part. There is Attack and Defense, there is Positional Play and Calculation, which we I think have sold out, but right now we have these 3 books from this series, and I always tell people you must get this book, and everyone asks me why should we get this book, and of course I could tell them the real reason, that it's a great book, but I just turn to page number 4 and I tell them this is what you should get the book for. It's a picture of me, Amruta and Jakob, and I think Jakob was very kind to put some of our pictures, mine and Amruta's, and also a lot of pictures from the Asian trip, Asian book tour in India and Asia when he was here 1.5 years ago. Here are Jakob Agard's 2 very, very popular books. In fact, they are not so recent. I think if I open this here, yeah, they are in 2010, so it's been 8 months, but I think this is 8 years. But this is what I think are known as classics, where they don't really fade out. So Agard talks about how you can build up attacks, how color weaknesses or bringing all the pieces into the attack, how all these themes really work. And this is part 1, part 2. These 2 books are excellent. I think you can become a very strong attacking player if you read them. Coming to one of my favorite books from Quality Chess, Chess Tactics from Scratch. I don't know how many people have recommended this book to. I was just, once I got hold of this book, I read it and it somehow changed my opinion about tactics. You know, for example, let's just look at one example, which is pin. Now each one of you knows what a pin is, but what Veteshnik, who is the author, Martin Veteshnik, he says a pin is nothing but 3 pieces in one line. It could be a diagonal, it could be a straight line, and the point is that the pinned piece is usually two of the opponents, one is in a pin, one is your own piece, two is opponent's piece, and usually the piece which is pinned is ahead of the more valuable piece. All of these things are explained beautifully in this book, even forks, double attacks, discovered attacks, and I think it gives a fresh, you know these things intuitively in your mind, but when you read it in words it just fixes these concepts, and I really love this book, Chess Tactics from Scratch. By the way, yes, once you learn everything, there are 300 test positions in the end, which are very nicely bifurcated by the number of stars. And this book has really attracted so many people, mainly because of its cover, but also the quality of the book. Woodpecker Method is written by Axel Smith and Hans Tikkanen, and you know how a woodpecker is, yeah, it keeps pecking at the wood, it doesn't make a hole all of a sudden, it keeps hitting at it slowly, 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 and then it makes a big hole. So similarly, the woodpecker method says you do your tactics every day, little by little, and you become a stronger player. If you look here, there are nearly 1100 positions, 1128 to be precise, and you need to solve them. But what really the authors say is that you must not just solve them and put it aside, but you must repeat them. You must do it once, you must do it twice, thrice, and you must make them a part of your mind. You know, it becomes sort of something which you understand these concepts and patterns really well. Okay, moving on, we have Positional Chess Sacrifices by Mihail Suba. Excellent book. Again, Suba is well known Romanian grandmaster. He's also quite a legendary figure in chess, and he talks about different openings. You can see the open games, Ruy Lopez, semi-open games, Alekhine's defense, and he has bifurcated these different openings into positional sacrifices, and this is what he covers in the book. A very nice book, and I think this is something which you can get for yourself. Tactimania, a very deceptive book, because on the cover you have these cartoons that young kids love, and inside you have beautiful animations done over here, you know. This is excellent. So many of the people who come to the stall over here say, I think this is a book for kids, but then you give them one or two positions to solve and they realize that this is not really so easy. It's written by Glenn Flair, and the animations inside have been done by his son, and it's a beautiful book. Yeah, this is very nicely done. In fact, what I love very much about this book at the end is that in the positions test section, each position has points or grading given to it. For example, this is 3 points. So if you find rook into h6, which is actually not the first move but the third move, you get 1 point. Now you get 1 point if you saw this neat side step. So this is very thoughtfully done, and he's given this point system in a very, very nice way. Danny Gormali, a very good strong English grandmaster, talks about how you can mate a castled king. Now it's a very intensive book where you are talking only about a king which has castled. So usually the pawns h2, g2, f2 are the ones which will be under attack, and how you can break that. You know, sometimes Greek gift, sometimes you sacrifice on h2, and this is a nice book. I liked it. I have solved most of the positions from it. Coming to the classic section here, very nicely arranged by people in the team of ChessBase India, Amruta, Supriya and Autanshu. They have put the classics together, and first one I really like is the Python strategy. You know, this book, if you are looking for something on Petrosian, you cannot really miss this. It's a book where there are notes by Petrosian himself or by his contemporaries, like Simagin here has annotated this game. If you turn Then this is by Tigran Petrosian himself and Najdorf. This game is annotated by Petrosian perhaps. So a great book to know who Tigran Petrosian, one of the greatest positional and defensive experts. You have, of course, the Chess Praxis by Aaron Nimzowitsch. I think my system is out of stock, yes? My system, it's over here. So I think these two books go hand in hand, that's my system and Chess Praxis. So what Nimzowitsch teaches is in the my system. He talks about rooks on 7th rank, he talks about isolated pawns, so many different concepts, and Chess Praxis is putting all of those concepts into use with different games of Aaron Nimzowitsch. So these two books are classics. Yeah, I think most of the GMs and IMs have read my system, and this is something which you should definitely get. Now, Soviet Chess Primer by Ilya Maizilis. I think I don't need to say anything up for this book apart from these two lines at the top. First one by Garry Kasparov, who says, a remarkable book from which I learned to play chess. And Anatoly Karpov says, a wonderful book. Now, what do I say more when two legends have said such great things about this book? Moving on, you have Questions of Modern Chess Theory by Lipnitsky, again a great book, a classic. And you have Key Concepts of Gambit Play by Razuvayev, who talks about different gambits and why they work, because sometimes you have lead in development, sometimes you have a weak square to look forward to, and this is that book where you get a good grip of gambits. And you have Soviet Chess Strategy by Alexei Suitin. It sort of breaks some kind of the things which you need to know about the Soviet chess school. What is their secrets, you know, you get to know some things here. Chess Tactics from Scratch, you already gone through it. And now comes one of the latest books, one of the books which even Jakob Agard and the entire Quality Chess team rate very highly, and it's Under the Surface, and the picture itself tells you what it's about. You know, when a grandmaster makes bishop b6, say checkmate, you can only see the tip of the iceberg, but behind this is like huge amount of calculation with all these whales and sharks, so many traps in there, and this is what Under the Surface is about. You have all the grandmasters' different thoughts which have been explained by Jan Markos. Here you can see chapters which are so interestingly titled Anatoly Karpov's Billiard Balls. There is also Secret Life of the Rooks, and it's a nice book, Princess of the Chess Board. So this is a new book, and definitely you should grab this one. Now, we wanted to keep some kind of classics, in the sense great players in our shop. So we had, of course, over here Tigran Petrosian with the Python strategy, but also nothing can be complete without the great Anatoly Karpov. So here you have Karpov's Strategic Wins, part 1, and you have part 2. So 1961 to 85, 25 years. And here you have 86 to 2010. Tibor Karolyi has annotated the games very well. And here's another book by Tibor Karolyi, which is on Mikhail Tal. In our shop, we have Mikhail Tal's Best Games Part 1 and Mikhail Tal's Best Games Part 3. Part 2 is missing, but once again, you can go to Part 1 where he became the world champion, and part 3 when he was invincible. So these are the classics. And now we go to Judith Polgar, whom I recently met, and I'm so happy that I could ask her about her books, and she said that she really worked hard on them. This is part 2 of her series. We have 2 parts out of the 3. The first part is how I beat Bobby Fischer's record. So how Judith Polgar became the youngest GM in the world at that point, beating Fischer's record. It's sold out right now, but you can order it online. It's there in Mumbai. This one is part 2, from GM to top 10. She is the only woman player who has been in top 10 in the world overall and also fought for the world championship title. Part 3 we do not have, it's basically game of queens, it's not here. We spoke about the woodpecker method and also grandmaster preparation, and here we come to the series of Artur Yusupov, and I think this is something, if you haven't seen it or if you don't know about it, this is going to change a few of your ideas about how to work on a course structure. So what Yusupov says is, you go for build up your chess 1, boost your chess 1, chess evolution 1, that's 3 books. Then you go to build up your chess 2, boost your chess 2, chess evolution 2, 6. Then you have build up your chess 3, boost your chess 3 and chess evolution 3, 9 books, and finally you revise everything with revision and examination. So if you look at this, you have the fundamentals. Oh, this is chess evolution. Let me take the first book, which is build up your chess. So you have 24 chapters. Each chapter, let's say the mating motifs one is one chapter, where he gives you a position and an explanation. He gives you another position and an explanation. Like that, there are 13 illustrative examples in chapter 1, followed by 12 exercises where you should exercise what you have learnt. So you can do this chapter, I would say, in something around 3 to 4 hours. And once you finish the chapters, bear in mind there is a scoring system. So if you score 14 points and above, that's excellent, 12 points and above, it's good, and 9 points means pass mark. If you scored less than 9, do this chapter again. What I like to do is, basically you must finish one chapter in a day. So if you do that, then you can finish this in 24 days, but let's say you have some prior commitments, you should take 1 month to finish this book. And the nice part about it is, the first chapter is mating motifs, second is also mating motifs 2, but then suddenly you have basic opening principles, then you have the pawn endings, then you have tactics double check. So it's like a book where you are not just focusing on one phase of the game, opening, end game or middle game, you are covering everything. And when you finish this book, it's like you have made a total workout. So part 1 you do it in 1 month, similarly for every book you take 1 month, so that comes to 10, but give and take here, I think you should be able to finish this entire course in 1 year. This should be your plan, and that's why we highly recommend it. Each book is 1000 rupees, but if you buy them all together, we are offering them for 9500 at this stall over here. Now what Amruta and the team have basically formulated here is that every book that you buy here is, then you can redeem it in the form of accessories. So 10% of the cost you have, for example, if you buy a book for 1000 rupees here, then 100 rupees you can redeem on accessories. So this is a keychain, nicely made keychain with a queen and love written here, and this is 150. So if you have bought a book, you can pay 50 rupees and buy this. Or let's say if you buy 2 books, then you can already get this for free, or if you bought 3 books, you can take 2 for free. So there are different designs, perhaps Amruta can explain them better here. What's the idea behind these keychains?
No, they are just some chess merchandise here, and lot of keychains. We have sold out many. Someone who loves to be a king, someone who loves to be a queen. We have this music, someone who is always hearing music while practicing chess. It's for your teacher. We have this thank you and queen and king. Someone who loves to travel, we have something for him. Everything has a chess piece, and
so there's a chess element in everything.
No, otherwise what sense does it make?
Yeah,
So it's
of course it's a chess stall, so it has to be some chess element.
so everything has a chess element here. We have some necklaces here. We have a lot of people buying for the gifting for their parents. There is super mom, then their girlfriends and everyone, students. So yes.
Yeah, and if someone buys, let's say, books, he can also redeem it on t-shirts. You have the collar neck t-shirt here, and you have the round neck ones here.
Yes.
So overall, if you buy, say, six, this is 600 rupees, this is 700. So if you buy 6 books, you get this for free. If you buy 7 books, this is for free. So
Yes.
overall, the idea is that you purchase something and you can redeem 10% on accessories, which you do not get if you buy from the online shop directly, and that's the reason why you should prefer buying it in the stall over here.
Yes.
And yeah,
We have a stall here at the entrance. There are a few entrances, and this is one of the entrance where we have a stall. And tomorrow, that is on 19th, no, yes, 19th, we will also have another stall. So please visit us.
yeah, the basic idea is we call this not just the shop or a selling point, but we call it as a knowledge point, knowledge stall, because you can come here, you can open a book, you can read about it, you can learn the openings, you can learn the end games, you can talk to us, you can ask us the best books, and so you gain knowledge. There's absolutely no need to buy these books, and that's the reason why you should come to this ChessBase India stall and look at the quality chess books. This is Sagar Shah signing off from Goa, and looking forward to meeting all of you who are in Goa over here tomorrow.